What's going on, you guys? This is your boy RBG, aka the Random Black Gamer, bringing you another update video on Transformers Reactivate. I know you guys have been wondering where I have been at with any news on this game, and I wanted to go ahead and apologize because I know I have been a little slow when it comes to bringing you guys coverage. But as you've noticed, the game just hasn't been giving anything for us to talk about, and I feel like I am speaking ad nauseum about some of the stuff that we already know. But I know some of you guys have been bringing it to my attention that other uploaders have been doing a good job of keeping the hope alive for Transformers Reactivate, such as my man Robo HD, whom I will be referencing a lot in this video since he is the pillar of this community. And usually when I talk about his or somebody else's videos, such as DPZ Luna, I feel like it's my responsibility to let their videos register in the YouTube algorithm for a while, because if a big channel like mine comes and talks about the same subject, chances are it's gonna overshadow what they produced, even though they're the originators who brought these details to our attention. So yeah, hopefully that answers your questions why I kind of lag behind when it comes to this. But here I am, I'm finally here to talk about some of the things that Robo HD brought us. There's a lot to take in, and I am so glad that he brought this to us. Like, I wish I could be a fly on the wall and listen to all these things that are delivered to him by this unknown source, which I'm pretty sure is a reputable source. But Robo does an exceptional job of giving us just enough details so he doesn't compromise the job of the person who's leaking it to him. And today I'm going to be talking about two videos that he made, one of which includes the gameplay and the other includes the game modes, because that's the actual thing that we want to know more about. How exactly is this game going to play? Because we've seen how the characters look and we want to know if it's going to be a true successor to the Cybertron games, or is it going to reinvent the wheel and bring a lot of new things to the table. And I honestly think it should be a mixture of both. I want it to feel similar but different. Like, I don't want it to feel like War for Cybertron or Fall of Cybertron. If I wanted to play those games, I can go back into my Steam library and pick up and play them at any time. If High Moon Studios was still a thing and they weren't reduced to just being patch makers for any Activision game, I'm pretty sure they would bring a lot of new gameplay elements to the table if they produced another installment in the War for Cybertron series. They were goated and they had the touch, but now a new challenger has arrived and it's Blast Damage. And hopefully they do a good job, because we know this game's primary focus is going to be multiplayer and it's going to have a lot of co-op elements. Based on the toys that we've gotten, which still seem to be sporting the name Transformers Rise, we can tell that there's going to be a lot of unlikely pairings between the Autobots and Decepticons, which leads me to believe that it's going to be a two-player co-op game as opposed to just having a lot of players on the screen at once. And at first I was questioning if this would be a smart move, if it's an actual thing, by the way, because I'm in no way confirming that this is set in stone. But if it does turn out to be this way, then I think it's going to be a good fit, because this is going to be a story-driven game, and I feel like having 4 active players on a mission at once would be a bit too much for the developers to handle. I think it would disrupt the narrative flow of each mission, because if you guys remember, Transformers Fall of Cybertron was completely devoid of online multiplayer for its campaign, because it had a lot of tightly structured set pieces to keep an immersive flow, not to mention it had levels tailored to each character's specific abilities. So I think playing with 2 characters online in the game's story mode is better than playing with none like it was in Transformers Fall of Cybertron. But anyways, so far we've gotten characters that have been paired up, such as Optimus Prime and Soundwave, who seem like a very interesting duo that I can't wait to see how they work alongside each other. And we've also gotten Bumblebee and Starscream, which is going to give off that ground and air dynamic when it comes to their gameplay. And since we're on the topic of gameplay, I think it's only right that we segue into what Robo has to say, because it seems like the devs over at Splash Damage put a lot of thought into the way the characters are going to traverse and maneuver around all the different layouts. I also feel like his video was in a direct response to one of the theories I came up with regarding the little things in the characters' backs. Like, if you guys notice, almost every character has those little neon circles in their backs, and I originally assumed that that was like their power source. For example, in the leaked cutscenes we got that featured Shockwave and Ratchet, they were testing what looked to be Energon cylinders and seeing how they would react to the Legion virus, which was consuming everything in sight. And I assumed that those things were going to be used to reactivate the Autobots and Decepticons, and you would just slide them into their backs or something like that. But come to find out that those things aren't what I thought. They're actually thrusters that the characters will be using in order to hover and fly. And I mean every character in this game. And I'm pretty sure after hearing this, you guys are probably already thinking about the Cybertron games, because if you remember, characters that specified in flying actually had the ability to hover, or they could just jet off somewhere. They could also double jump and air dash if they wanted to, and I feel like that's a welcomed addition to this game, right? Because instead of just having those characters that specialize in flying, you're going to actually be doing that with all the characters. And I can already tell that some G1ers are going to have a problem with that, because for the most part, the Decepticons were always known as the high flyers, while the Autobots were known for being the ground-based characters, which is totally understandable, but I think it's important to take into consideration the idea of balance. While a car is super fast, it pales in comparison to something that can take flight. And I feel like the developers knew that if they were to compromise that aspect and make the characters more faithful to G1, they would risk breaking the foundation of their game. It kind of reminds me what Crystal Dynamics had to do with the Avengers game. Like, even though Iron Man is known for being this super fast character who can move across the air like a supersonic missile, he had to be slowed down to compensate for the characters who don't possess that ability. While a character such as Steve Rogers, who's jacked to the gills with super soldier serum, can run super fast, there ain't no way he's keeping up with Tony Stark. Like, Tony can make it from America to Afghanistan within minutes, but unfortunately Crystal Dynamics had to reduce his speed to a super slow level to avoid breaking their game. And it seems like that's what Splash Damage is going to have to do for this game. So hopefully that clarifies things to you guys, because I know some of you wonder why they can't do this and why they can't do that, but hey, these are the rules when it comes to making an online game. But anyways, one of the biggest aspects that I'm wondering about is how they're going to go about making the vehicles move on ground, because one of the things that I feel like was an ultimate game changer was when High Moon Studios thought of a brilliant idea to make the characters hover in their vehicle modes, which allowed them to stray from side to side. That had never been done before, and funny enough, Hasbro was very adamant that they didn't do that because it compromised the integrity of the lore. Because once again, not all the characters in the Transformers mythos knew how to fly, but thankfully the two companies agreed that characters would turn their wheels down and they would hover in vehicle mode, allowing for more movement. But if you wanted to boost off, you can revert to the traditional wheel mode in order to do that, maintaining what the Transformers license had already established with the previous canon. And I can't lie, I feel like if they didn't add that into there, it would be a cardinal sin, because like I said, I feel like that was a game changer, and I honestly can't see myself playing without that feature. So hopefully that's something that Splash Damage takes into consideration, especially if they watch my videos and they add the ability to strafe in vehicle mode. But moving on, I think it's time that we talk about the game modes. Now, first and foremost, I just want to go ahead and disclose that these game modes may or may not be included in the game. If I'm not mistaken, they were found via data mining, and since this game has seen multiple hands be on it in terms of developers, that being Certain Affinity and now Splash Damage, then those game modes may have changed or may have never left the cutting room floor. So take these details with a very small pinch of salt. Anyways, as you know, this game's story will revolve around restoring Transformers from being deactivated to reactivated, and in order to do that, we're going to need the resources to bring these characters back to life. And as you can imagine, you're going to be doing a lot of traveling, salvaging different parts, and you're going to have to transfer those parts back to the location where they're going to reactivate the Transformers. And that's where the game mode of Payload comes in. In this game mode, you're going to actually escort a cargo that features all the different parts needed in order to restore these Transformers. But as you're aware, the Transformers are living in a very hostile environment, and the Legion are going to be ready to jump on you anytime they see you, which is going to be a major problem when it comes to getting the cargo back to EDC, or the Earth Defense Command base. So you're going to have to occasionally defend this thing to get it back safely, and according to Robo Gamer 1 HD, a character can jump on top of the cargo or payload, while another character deals with the enemies from afar. But you must be diligent in your assessment, because players can be dragged away from the cargo, causing it to be compromised and potentially destroyed by the Legion. And according to Robo Gamer 1 HD, this game mode was said to be too easy for the developers, so hopefully they've taken it upon themselves to give it more oomph in the challenge department. But moving on, the next mode we have to talk about is Tower Mode, and this is pretty much self-explanatory. It's a mode where you fight multiple hordes of enemies and work your way up to each floor to fight the main enemy, which is going to be a boss fight. Apparently your team will have to fight a giant tower that's going to come with its own defenses in the form of shields and weapons. And I can see this being one of the primary game activities, right? Because when it comes to tower modes, they essentially consist of reused assets from stages, except just made in a different way to keep things a little more engaging. I'm hoping that they have a leaderboard for players who want to have that challenge to be the best. But anyways, the last mode that we have is the wave mode, or a raid where you'll essentially have to fight multiple hordes of enemies. And I'm pretty sure this will be the most difficult mode, since the difficulty setting seems to change the further you go into these raid dungeons, because the further you go, the more the enemy waves increase in number, not to mention that you're going to be fighting boss type enemies who also will have a difficulty spike, and you're going to fight the final boss who's going to probably take a lot of time to defeat. And what I love about these modes is that you have to think strategically, and not only that, you have to find a group of players who are actually experienced in this area. Like, I can imagine that it's going to take a lot of group cohesion and experienced players in order to overcome these obstacles. But with all that out of the way, I think it's time to conclude this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, because I had a blast making it and giving you guys my thoughts on things that we may or may not see in the final product. And once again, I got to give another shout out to Robo Gamer 1 HD for actually revealing these things to us. Also guys, be sure to subscribe and check out his videos to stay updated, because I might not always bring you these things in a timely fashion, so yeah. But anyways, what are your thoughts on this? Do you feel like these modes are going to be fun and interesting? And also, what do you think about all characters possessing the ability to float and double jump? Let me know in the comment section below. As always, I asked you like or dislike the video. It doesn't have to be a thumbs up, it can be a thumbs down. But if you really enjoyed this content, I would appreciate it greatly if you shared it with all your friends and family members on all the different social media outlets. Sharing is caring. But once again, this is your boy RBG, aka the Random Black Gamer, signing out on another video. I'll catch you guys later. Peace out. As a successful YouTube user, I often get questions asking what I use to get my videos tons of views. And the answer to that is TubeBuddy. This thing has helped me take my channel to the next level in ways I never imagined. It's a browser extension that helps new and experienced YouTubers grow fast and optimize their channels. I've been using this extension for years, and it's constantly getting updated with new features, like the SEO tool that helps me come up with the perfect title, description, and tags to get more people to click on my videos. It even provides you with analytics beside your videos to see how much traffic your video is generating from various social media sites. The extension is absolutely free, but as a special offer, we're giving a 50% discount for channels that have less than 1,000 subscribers that purchase the Pro upgrade. All you have to do is enter in the code RisingStarBuddy. So if you're interested in starting a YouTube channel or taking your content to the next level, download the extension now. You can do so by clicking on this link that'll be provided in the description of this video.